Hey, this is Notser, and we're talking radar. Why Wargaming Developer Blog made a post on the 19th showing off potential changes coming to the Americans and the British radar systems. The Soviets don't change, but I'm going to describe the basic idea of the new system with the help of my Missouri. Missouri has radar, it's the only battleship, you get the idea. Basic idea of the new radar system is that the opponent class will influence your effective radar range. DDs would remain the same, 9.45. The kilometers wouldn't go up for detecting ADD. That's basically what the Missouri is right now, and it's for 30 or 40 seconds, or yeah, 30 or 40 seconds-ish, give or take. Enemy cruisers would be detected at 10.5 kilometers, battleships 11.55 kilometers, and aircraft carriers 12.6 kilometers. Now that's an increase of about 1 kilometer per the class. That seems pretty reasonable, right? Yes. It's a global buff to the American radar system. There is no downside to that. So yeah, it's a buff. Maybe the American cruisers need that since there's so few aircraft carriers in the game to justify their AA. For the British, it's a little bit more extreme. So it starts off at 8.5, goes up to 10.5, 12.5, 14.5. For the Soviets, it doesn't change. 11.45 kilometer range, lasts for about 20 seconds. But the British one is a huge increase. Now, why is that? Probably they want you to choose it over smoke. They really, really, really hate how much smoke is in the game. It's clear with all these changes that they want to discourage it completely. But is it the right solution for radar? It feels overly complex. It's just way too much information to have to keep in mind. And unfortunately, it's not based on American module, British module, Soviet module. It's based ship to ship. That's just too much. That's too much wargaming. It would be one thing if every American had the same, every British, but it's not. It's very specific for every single class, every single ship. It just, not good at all. Way too much complexity added to the game. How could you communicate this to the player? You can't draw enough rings because, yeah, sure, I know where my radar ranges are, but everyone else probably doesn't. And they're just going to sail into a danger zone, get detected, and probably die. That's not fair to them. Someone might counter, well, you don't need to know these ranges. And I would chuckle a little bit because if you are not preparing yourself for success, how are you going to have it? That's my main motto with all this stuff. I want you all to understand pretty much everything I understand, so you can make informed decisions moment to moment in combat, pick ships that you enjoy, or maybe, hey, that looks fun, I'm going to try it, right? You can't just put in a system that's so complex that you can't keep it straight in your head and expect the players to just be like, it's okay, ha ha ha, oh look, he detected me. No, that's not going to happen. It's too complex. There's not a good way of communicating that to the player. Please don't do this wargaming. At the very least, please don't have specific ship ranges for radar detection. Is radar an effective tool for detecting people in smoke or anything like that? Yes. But we can't, and I repeat, we cannot sacrifice any more detection against the destroyer. You can't do it. So, it has to stay at 9-ish, 11-ish Soviet American. It just can't be super complex. Now, having said all of that here, let me provide you with a solution to your problem wargaming. There are a couple skills that are basically useless. And you know this, I know this. In fact, you're probably revamping the skill tree as I speak. What if there was a skill that detected the potential radar signature and it would turn on or turn off based on your proximity to someone who has radar available, or could use radar if it was available. You know, maybe it had two different versions. Maybe it was like a low power state indicator versus a high power state. And all it did was forewarn you of this potential radar threat. Some people would say, oh, well, Notser, you would just take that on your DD. Would you? Would you just take that on your DD? If you could just remember 9.45 for the DD range and 11.45 for the Soviet DD range. If you knew those two numbers, would you really need to know all that information? You could obviously make the skill more or less important. Radar isn't critical all the time, but in competitive it might be absolutely critical. So it's a skill you take in competitive which you wouldn't take in random battles, for instance. Similar to advanced firing training or manual AA, some of these skills you just wouldn't take because you know, or you wouldn't plan on taking it because you wouldn't guarantee having the counter show up in your game, or you wouldn't be the counter if you were in the game. But yeah, I think if there was some sort of electromagnetic detection system that just forewarned me that there is a potential radar threat, then I would be more inclined to allow for variable radar ranges in the game. And it could be useful for everyone to take or no one to take. It doesn't have to be last stand levels of this is absolutely required. You could be a DD that says, I will know if I'm 9.45 from an American cruiser. I'll just know that. Okay. It's not as critical as situation awareness. Of course, you could make it just as important, if not more important, based on the skill cost. Everything comes back to skill cost. Concealment is too cheap at 4. And fire prevention is a little too rich, you know. Radiolocation is a little too rich. There's just a few skills that you could honestly justify first take all the time, and that's concealment, basically. If you were going to be in a situation where you were always going to be in an aircraft carrier, well, yeah, you'll take advanced firing training. Or if you were doing a manual secondary build, yeah. But generally, concealment is king over everything by a country mile. And it would be nice to have more skills that competed for those slots so there was a little bit more variety in your builds. That's where I would like to see the game become a little bit more complex. The build paths that are available for the player. I don't want to see wargaming introducing these baked in class varied stat all across the board. I don't want one skill to be 10 different things for 10 different classes. I don't think that's healthy, and it certainly isn't going to bring people in because it's just too confusing. You know, it's not approachable. The game needs to be approachable. Yeah, sure, you can just sail around and shoot at people, but when you really look at how much stuff you have to consider, it's got to be one of the most complex games I played. So, I hope this was enjoyable for you. The Missouri certainly had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we didn't win the game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.